Hello and welcome to Face Off here on France 24. The stage is now finally set. Less than 3 months to go before the presidential election, and we now have the casting of the candidates after the Socialists chose Benoît Hamon as their flag bearer in last Sunday's primary. And we know one thing, it is a wide open race. The favorite conservative candidate, François Fillon, is mired in a controversy over allegations that his wife held a fictitious job, while his two main rivals, far-right leader Marine Le Pen and centrist newcomer Emmanuel Macron, are about to fully launch their campaigns with major rallies scheduled for this weekend. To discuss the presidential race, we're less than 3 months away now, less than 90 days. Philip Turl from Radio France Internationale and Jean-Marc Gonin with the Figaro magazine. So this past Sunday, the former education minister and an outsider in this race, Benoît Hamon, soundly defeated the outgoing Prime Minister Manuel Valls in the second round of the primary, garnering over 58% of the votes. It's a victory for him, for the left of the Socialist Party. Let's take a listen to Benoît Hamon about the significance of his victory.
I'm convinced that faced with a right wing of privilege and conservatism and a destructive far right, our country needs the left, a left that is modern, innovative, and which is turned towards the future, and which considers the world such as it is, not as it was, capable of building a desirable future.
Just like François Fillon won the Conservative primary as an outsider, a surprise candidate who emerged at the very end, the same thing happened with Benoît Hamon, who was clearly not the favorite, but who managed to win this primary quite decisively.
Yes, indeed. He came from behind at the beginning of the race. He was a big outsider. There were favorites who were supposed to get ahead of him. He just surpassed everybody. And the man now, he had a great victory in the sense that he had 16 points. He was 16 points ahead of a prime minister, of somebody who was a prime minister just some weeks ago. So it is a huge blow in the face of François Hollande. And
yes, because it's not only Manuel Valls. Through him, it's clearly the people voted against François Hollande, who was supposed to run in that primary and didn't do so.
Yeah, it was tailor-made for him. That primary was tailor-made for him. And in the end, one of his most ferocious opponents, a former minister who really led the revolt against him inside the party once he quit cabinet, has won a tremendous victory. It means that he has mobilized a certain electorate who wanted to break with the legacy of François Hollande.
So Benoît Hamon ran a campaign to the left of the party, talking about social issues, environmental issue, and I don't know if you think that this is essentially a rejection of François Hollande, or you think that there's more to it, that Benoît Hamon is able to seduce a part of the left that had basically disappeared, and especially the youth.
Okay, 2 points. First one is Benoît Hamon's election is, I think, a sign that French voters are growing increasingly frustrated with the leaders they've seen around in this country for years and years, and he's the example of leaders who were supposed to make their way through and run again in this election who've been swept off the face of the political planet, starting in the right with Nicolas Sarkozy, and then also with François Hollande, as you said, on the left, and now with Manuel Valls, the former Prime Minister, who's also out. It was certainly a rejection of François Hollande. Can he make it? It's going to be very difficult because he's running a minority current within the Socialist Party on the far left of the Socialist Party.
And he has to unite this party
which
that is deeply divided.
To unite the party. And of course, as we haven't mentioned yet, there are two outsiders on the far left who are running independently of the Socialist Party. We have Jean-Luc Mélenchon, and then in the centre we have Emmanuel Macron. The election of Benoît Hamon is going, I think, to cause trouble for Jean-Luc Mélenchon. It's not sure that he's going to be able to reunite the Socialist Party itself. And I think it's going to open a boulevard now for Emmanuel Macron, because many of the voters who don't like Benoît Hamon, who wanted to vote for the former Prime Minister Manuel Valls will now go and cast their votes in favour of Emmanuel Macron. So it's going to boost support for him, and I think it's going to be very difficult for Benoît Hamon to reunite the Socialist Party behind him with such a minority current.
Right. A number of socialist MPs have already said that they would actually not support Benoît Hamon, and some ministers have clearly warned him that Benoît Hamon should really stick to François Hollande and not push him away. Just to confirm what Philip was just saying, a poll taken and published in Le Figaro this week shows that the presidential race is tightening. The far-right leader Marine Le Pen is still ahead. Then comes the conservative candidate François Fillon, but he is only edging the former economy minister, this newcomer on the French political scene, Emmanuel Macron, by 1 percentage point. Benoît Hamon comes in fourth with 15% ahead of Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who arrives fifth with 10%.
Which is actually better than many people were saying, because at the start, before this primary took place, people were saying, well, in any case, the person who wins for the Socialist Party will only come fifth in the presidential race.
So Benoît Hamon is already
place up the ladder already.
Right, but not enough. Clearly now it seems at the very top you have a three-way race, and let's just remind our viewers, only two can qualify for the second round of this presidential election.
Yes, as we speak, somebody must be very, very disappointed with the last poll result, and this is François Fillon. Obviously, his rates are kind of plummeting. He's lost almost 10 points since last December, and we'll speak later about what's affecting him. But now he's almost equal with Emmanuel Macron, who is, again, a total outsider. He was, like 2 years ago, or let's say 4 years ago, no Frenchman would have ever heard of him. He was an advisor of the president, and he became a minister of the economy. He left government to throw his hat into on the ring and run for president, and he is gathering a fantastic momentum. It is, with no party backing him, I mean, it beats all the normal rules of French politics.
Yes, this is really, and we'll see this weekend when he's going to hold a rally in Lyon at the same time as Marine Le Pen. I want to get to François Fillon because the main information from that poll is François Fillon is struggling. The reason why he's struggling is that there is a preliminary investigation that was opened by the national financial prosecutor here in France after revelations that his wife, Penelope, was earning money from jobs that appeared not to be totally real job. There have been a number of interventions by the magistrates, including Mr. Fillon and his wife being interrogated. And this is how François Fillon reacted at a rally held last Sunday, where he clearly wanted to show that he will not be intimidated.
3 months from the election, surprise, surprise, a scandal is being whipped up. They're trying to use Penelope to take me down. But I'm not afraid of anything. I have thick skin. If someone wants to attack me, they should attack me head-on, but leave my wife out of this political debate.
Very unusual to see François Fillon speaking in such personal terms. He's a very private person, but clearly the heat is on for him.
Well, he's a wounded candidate. He's scared he's losing support left, right and centre. He's got to fight back to try and grab the campaign and get it back on foot. His wife is accused of having worked for him as an attaché, a parliamentary attaché, and also for a literary review. But many people who know Penelope Fillon say they never saw her at the literary review, or she just did a couple of notes and got paid quite handsomely for it over a couple of years, and worked for François Fillon as a parliamentary attaché when herself she said that she didn't get involved in politics at all, and many people in the National Assembly said they never saw her. So an investigation is going on into the fact that she earned thousands and thousands of euros for these jobs, and it's not looking very good for François Fillon to have to explain this when he is a candidate for the presidential election.
Right. He said publicly that if he is put under formal investigation, as it's known here in France, he would not stand in the presidential election. We're not there yet. We're still in the early stages. Many people are saying this will not happen, but nevertheless, some are saying serious damage has been done to the man who was seen as clearly the next president.
Yes, he was a clear favorite, and he had campaigned as a man of virtue, and suddenly he's a sinner, or he looks like one. And even if he walks from this case, I mean, if they don't find any evidence, I mean, the damage is done, and I think he made himself a mistake saying that if he's indicted, he quits. He has opened the possibility by himself, which was not very clever, I think.
And Marine Le Pen, who is also about really to enter the campaign fully, is still ahead. She's not improving so much in the polls, but clearly all this climate is favoring her, although she herself faces some serious...
She's got some financial worries with the European Union because they said that she was using European Union money to pay some of her collaborators. Not hearing very much from Marine Le Pen. With all this going on with François Fillon, she doesn't really need to do anything. With all the fighting between the different left wing in France, she doesn't really need to do anything there either. Donald Trump is helping her quite a bit as well. So,
although he didn't receive her at the Trump Tower in New York.
That's right. But she's going to launch her campaign soon. But I think the less she says at the moment, the more she's profiting from the situation.
Okay, thank you very much to both of you. We'll continue to follow this crucial election here in France, here on France 24, and we'll see you next week.